Alright, so one thing I've discovered recently that I thought was interesting, um, finding out your alignment or getting an idea of your alignment without opening the grinder. So there's a new method, I don't know if it's new, but it's new to me, which hopefully I'm not 100% sure if it works, if it's if it's an accurate representation of your alignment, but I'm hoping it is because it's a lot easier, it's faster. What you normally have to do to check your alignment is open up the burrs. On most grinders, I mean, on these ones it's pretty easy. Just unscrew the top part. You don't have to unscrew the burrs themselves unless you're making adjustments to the alignment by adding little tinfoil shims or something similar. But that's like the next stage in correcting your alignment. But just for testing, this method, if it works, would be awesome because you don't have to open it, it's faster, it's easier, and you also don't have to use marker, which usually use dry erase marker to mark the edges of the burrs. Yeah, so normally you would just add marker along the very edge, and that's where the burrs are going to touch first. So then you basically cause them to slightly rub, and then you can see if they're wiped mostly even, then you know you have a good alignment. If you're missing like half the burr, then you might want to make some adjustments. And I don't know, it's debatable. Some people will say it makes a huge difference in grind performance. Other people will say it doesn't make that much of a difference. So I don't know. I would think it would make a big difference. Apparently with larger burrs, there's more of a, if the alignment's off, it's going to be off by a larger amount. So yeah, so like a small degree kind of gets amplified depending on the overall size. Back to the original point. So this method, I already did this. So you want to make sure your grinder is clean. Something like if your grinder doesn't have a bellows, like this might help. I didn't actually use it this time. But sometimes what happens if your grinder's not clean, you're looking for the tick mark, the tick point where you start hearing the burrs touch just a little bit. On this one or on any variable RPM grinders, you want to make sure, it's probably better on lower RPM, that way they're touching less or, less often. So you just want it to slightly tick, and I've already adjusted it to that point. So the thing, the reason why you want to make sure it's clean is with some grinders, I know the DF64 had this issue a lot. The P64, I've noticed it too, where you get a false ticking, which is basically just a bean fragment stuck somewhere. So like way before your actual burr touch, it might sound and feel like you'll feel a little vibration coming from it. It might feel like you're touching the burrs. So that's why clean it out first so that you know where your real burr touch point is. I mostly notice that if you're going coarse, like for pour over or AeroPress or whatever, something coarser, and then you're going back to espresso grind size, that's when I notice. So this one I've also adjusted to the tick point where I started hearing the ticking, because on video, while holding my phone, I can't really adjust it. Well, you probably could, but in order to adjust it precisely, you want to make small changes. Otherwise, you don't want to overshoot and go too fine while the grinder's running. So while it was running, I adjusted it to the point where it starts ticking. So I'll show you what that sounds like. And I'm not hearing it. Okay, I'm gonna adjust it a little finer. I'm gonna do it while it's running, so hold on. All right, so that's what it sounds like on the P64 at lowest RPM. And on the DF, I wonder if I've stretched it out by keeping it at the bird point, because now it's not making the sound. Hold on. All right, first, now I'm showing you how much tighter I can adjust the grind size. So before, I think it was at 6 point, I'd say 7.5 or 7.6. I'll have to check the video. And I've moved it with the grinder off. Very important, you want the grinder off. So then you adjust it even finer until it stops moving. So this is that point. So this is how much extra it moved from Burr touch point to Burr lock point. And that will give you an idea of how well your alignment is, supposedly. So with the DF83, my touch point, or tick point, I would say, is at the N. Oh, yeah, there you go. And let's see. Okay, I'm gonna need 2 hands. And as far as it goes is to the D. So I'd say it's a little more of a larger jump. So that would indicate that the alignment is not as good on the DF83 as it was on the Lagome P64, if this is an accurate indication of alignment. So yeah, that's my, I didn't come up with it, but that's the easy alignment test to give you an idea of your alignment. You want to make sure you remember to go coarser afterwards. With some grinders, I like that the Lagome P64 in their manual, it tells you, you know, from 0 point, let's say 0 is 7.5 on here. It says with these specific burrs, they recommend, you know, espresso range is 10 ticks, I think, coarser after the touch points. And then you have a good starting point where to start grinding for espresso, which is helpful for like a new user or if you're just popping in new burrs. Oh, the other thing, when I first put in the, I've got the Meissen burrs in there, which are option O's. Their first custom designed, their own branded burrs. They're kind of like the SSP cast Sweet Labs style burrs. So I put those in and I did that test. So it was about 5 notches at first. So what I did, I don't know what fixed it, but I opened it up. I rotated the top burr carrier. So it's in a different orientation. The DF83, the DF64, that also has that, where sometimes you'll find a better alignment depending on which way you rotate the top burr carrier. So if you're finding you're not happy with the results, try just rotating the burr, the top burr. It's easy to do. All I gotta do is unscrew this top part, and then there's a little part that sits. You just rotate the orientation. So sometimes when people take out their original burrs, they mix up the orientation, then the other orientation might not be as good. So yeah, on the P64, I think there's just 2 ways of it sitting. Like it could sit one way or the other. On DF83, you had 3 different orientations, and on DF83, it can go one of 2 ways. So, or yeah, it can go 2 different ways. So you have some easy adjustment options if it's not to your liking at first. That's what I did. I also flipped the ball bearing in the P64. I don't know if that made a difference, but when I put it back together, as you saw, it's 0.2, or 2 little tick marks from burr tick point to burr touch or lock point. And each of these ticks represents 10 microns. So I think the DF83 and DF64 are similar. Each tick mark is about 10 or 12, I think, microns, which is similar. So yeah, you also want to take that into account. Yeah, so let me know if you guys think it is an accurate way or semi-accurate way, if it's worth even doing. Yeah, I mean, it's probably not as precise as like and you'll still have to do the marker test for actually precisely aligning your burrs, unless you have actually like the idea of using the dials where you have a special tool that measures the movement, or like, you know, as it rotates, it will tell you if it's perfectly level or not. So I like that idea better than using marker, because who knows what kind of chemicals are in those dry erase markers. Well, maybe someone knows. Is it safe? I don't know. I don't think it all gets cleaned out. There's a lot of residue that, you know, sticks into chutes, especially if it's a sticky, you know, it's a marker that is designed to stick on things, and it comes off easy as well. So, yeah, who knows? Does it all get blown out with the coffee grounds? Probably not. There's probably some residual chemicals getting left in there. So I never liked the idea of using marker in my grinders. That's just me. I've always been a little iffy with different chemicals and different junk we put in our food and products and all that stuff.